Now Michelli got Knies on a break. Matthew Knies and Montembeault makes the stop. In front, Riley scores! Off the draw, won by Tavares. Sent to the line, booted by Dobson. Nylander ahead, rolling wide of the net. Matthews scores! Suzuki tied up by Tavares. Lorentz spins it across, an empty net. And William Nylander's got his first of the season. Casper able to recover that. It's bumped in front, and out goes Domi. 3 leaps through center. A 3-on-2. Domi has Knies. Domi scores!
New Jersey's wise to that, and they've broken up so many of those plays.
Ends up with Radish. He'll take a shot and score!
Now move it slightly. Comfort for Detroit in a tough area. McMahon now goes to work. He'll kick it to his stick. Bobby McMahon out in front. And they score! Matthew Knies! Nashville zone. Go to Joshua. Back for McCabe with a long shot. Scores! Jake McCabe through the traffic on the Leafs. Up for Nylander. And Nylander moves in with Tavares. The drop pass for Ekman Larsson. Feeds it back in front. They score! Lines it back down to Michelli, widening it. Back for Nylander. Centers Ekman Larsson. Nylander shoots. Rebound, score! Allen up ahead to Matthews. In with Knies. Matthews walks right in. Feeds across for Knies for Matthews. Scores! Oh, what a goal! The Leafs lead 5-2. Tavares isn't happy, but Knies has the puck. Banks it across to Tavares. Throws that towards the goal. Glove down. Score! Matthews on the feed from Tavares. There's a chance for Stamkos. That deflects wide. Yossi moves up. Picked up by Knies again. Looks for Nylander. He's not going to say no. Nylander shoots. Score! Gavrikov off the boards, but not out. Helped by Ekman Larsson. Nylander back out. Shoot. Score! And Matthews. Austin Matthews. William Nylander 2-on-1. Nylander works in. Back in front. They score! Austin Matthews. Overtime winner. Leafs take it 2-1.
Did a lot with Easton Cowan in the last game. In the last shift with the Matthews line, they didn't get out of their own zone. They're into the Seattle zone now. Riley scores! See another Sun Devil next week. Josh Doan. And the Buffalo Sabres will provide back-to-backs. There's a shot. Score! 2 periods of play as Tavares digs in, clean win. Nylander put it right on. Rebound. Scores! John Tavares has his 500th.
Evander Kane tried to go through the defense, and taking the puck away was Chychrun. Stays in the Washington zone. Kane kicks it free, and a shot. Score! Teddy Bluger. Back for Ekman Larsson. Feeds that down to Nylander. Ekman Larsson, long shot. Lots of traffic. They score! Poked home by John Tavares.
The centering pass by Byram knocked away. And Nylander gets the long pass. He's in. Breakaway. Scores! Around for Tavares. Back up top. Ekman Larsson. John Tavares. Here's a shot. Scores! Austin Matthews. Leafs trying to get it back. And it's Nick Waugh who does. Here's Waugh turning. Joshua in front. Loose puck. Scores! Jake McCabe. Back to Joshua over the line. Here's Dakota Joshua in. Scores! As he had a clear break. Now the other way. It's a breakaway. John Tavares scores! 499. It's a game winner.
No one in the history of the league has done that in terms of 16 in a row at Vancouver, other than Jari Kurri. Here's a steal. Roslovic, wrist shot, score!
They got 2.
And comes Lorentz for Domi. Walking in, he shoots, scores! Now Backlund has pocket picked by Nylander. Nice, he scores! That clearing attempt knocked down by Matthews. Walks it in, shoots. Wolf save, rebound, loose in front. Tavares at the side of the goal. Now Matthews pokes it back in front. Rebound, score! McCabe bumped that head for Domi, taking a shot away. Now Weegar can't poke it out. Tavares finds Knies. Domi in, shoots, scores!
In a tight game, that's probably a penalty, isn't it?
There's a chance for Knies in front, and John Tavares has scored his 500th the 40. Riley, that shot cuts down Forster. Forster shaking up on the play. That'll leave a mark, and Matthews scores! Austin Matthews. Michelli retrieves. Back to Tanev and McCabe. Here's a shot. Scores! From the point, it gets through. And Jake McCabe. And here's Tavares. Swinging across. Cowan scores! There it is! His first NHL goal!
Bouchard. Peering inside. McDavid. In front, tipped home. Jack Roslovic. 2.
Little things that I asked him and I picked his brain out. I mean, things I had no idea about, only the greats do.
Here comes Matthews. He scores! Austin Matthews. He'll reset the play. Ekman Larsson looking for a tip. Here's Riley chopping one. In front, Nylander. Backhands it. He scores! Nylander looking for the tip out in front. Matthews powers out in front. All the way back. Ekman Larsson. Nylander. He scores!
Power play brought to you by Play Alberta. The Oilers, red hot. Nugent Hopkins, McDavid in front, and it's slammed home. 1-0 Edmonton. Back-to-back games with a power play goal for Jack Roslovic.
Working at center, Tavares got position on Sibachev. Here's Tavares. Penalty pending. Loose puck in front. Nylander scores!
Forced them to maybe get hemmed in, and now you got some fresh bodies out there.
Here's a chance. Matthews scores! What a blast! On a setup by Michelli. Bobby McMahon on that right flank. Robertson in support. It came out in front. Scores! John Tavares! 5-0-1. The overtime hero last night for Cooley. An outlet for Nylander. Up ahead, Nyes. Matthews with them, and Nyes will score! Comes back to Nylander. Rink wide Matthews. Midpoint, and now in front. Scores! John Tavares!
Top center iceman and Anthony Cirelli out due to injury. Duhaime parked in the corner. Shift it for Duhaime short side. Score!
He's won 2 of 3 last year from Carolina. Won the last 2 meetings. It's nice. Centers for Nylander. In alone. Nylander scores! Up for Robertson. He finds Tavares. Out with McMahon. And John Tavares works in. Got a shot away. Butsy save. Rebound. Robertson turned away. McMahon pins it back across. They score! John Tavares on the rebound. And leaves them tied the game in 2. Matthews posted up on the right side. That pass didn't get to him. Now does. Matthews. Tavares. Back across. Nylander shoots. Scores! Nylander strikes again. The Leafs have a 3-2 lead. Centering pass. Nyes. Knocks that back to McCabe. Matthews scores on the feet from McCabe. And the Leafs lead by 2. Werenski for Charlie Coyle. What a save by Skinner. Coast to coast. Roslovic with the game on his stick. He scores! And Swayman back to play it. McAvoy stripped. And now Lorenzo scores! Nick Robertson pulls it free. Slides that back to Ekman Larsson with a shot. Scores! It got through.
Dowd gets trapped on the end wall. To the front for Frank. Back door. Score! Duhaime.
Canceled out, turned over. Roslovic up to Savoy for the win. Back to Roslovic, he scores! And Edmonton prevails 2-1.
As he's trying to recover. Here's Tavares in front. Ekman Larsson sends it wide. Got his own rebound. In front, scores! John Tavares! Hit a stick, bounces in behind the net. Leafs were held to 8 shots through 2 periods against Pittsburgh. In front of the net, scores! John Tavares from William Nylander.
Fire! Tarasov the save. Rebound for Dowd. A split stop. Tarasov, marvelous in the game's first 9 minutes. Sandin fires. Deflection, score! Duhaime cruising through the slot.
The injuries to Jalen Chatfield and Jacob Slavin, neither of whom are in the lineup tonight for Carolina. It's guys like Eastern who've stepped up. Nurse, a turnover, and a quick goal for Jack Roslovic.
As that got by Tavares, kept alive by Nylander. Nice play. Ekman Larsson in front. Morgan Riley scores.
Tried to turn it back to Thompson and off the giveaway. Here comes Mangiapane with Draisaitl. Trailer, one-timer score! Jack Roslovic has tied this game.
Blues won 5-1 here last year. 4-2 at home as McCabe shoots, scores! Played 3 years at Quinnipiac. Leafs signed him in 2024. Blaze hits it rink wide. Lorenz shoots, scores! 3 Blues converge on him.
What an effort. Oh, he kept it alive.
Kicks it free for Riley. Drops it back to Nylander. Pulls it around Nylander. Backhand shot, scores!
Over the course of the season, has skated about 11 miles more than Kucherov has. Different styles.
Here's points. Radish loads, shoots, score!
His brother Luca's at the University of Michigan. Defenseman there. Burmis, a long shot, scores! And Dakota Burmis for Ekman Larsson. To Tavares. John Tavares in across the line for Cowan, moving in, trying to pull that back. Tavares, score! For the next 8. Here comes Paul!
Nick Paul is back! And he ties the game for the Lightning.
Flipped ahead, and away goes Salam Benoit. Over the line, Nylander holds on, and now downhill, Cowan in the slot. Ekman Larsson scores! And now he'll be to the bench. Domi comes on as the extra attacker. It'll be Riley across. Nylander snaps it, scores! Power play goal.
A late scratch Aaron Ekblad. So actually the Panthers just have 11 from that game. Bouchard able to hold the puck in, a drive, and that squeezes through Bobrovsky. Jack Roslovic tied at 1. Lundell from Samoskevich at 6:30. Here's Bouchard, wide open. Roslovic scores again.
He popped right through him, and then he got into it with Fox on the way back to the bench and was trying to get him to go. Fox, that big guy himself, but up by 5 goals.
David off the post, rebound, score. Jack Roslovic, 7.
Here's a shot, save, Bobrovsky. He flashed out to get that one. Tippett back to Drysdale, who took that shot. Now Andre to traffic, they score!
Trying to shake the checking of Werenski. Cowan with a little bit of a pick that allows Tavares a little room. Provorov, here's Cowan, scores! Crisscrossing his Knies, gets to the bench. Matthews, one last shift. Knies, Matthews to the net. Knies, Nylander again, scores!
With a run that he's been on. Radish back to Kucherov. Kucherov beats this one down low. Gets it back. Here's Radish with a shot. Scores!
Oliver Ekman Larsson lines it back across. Riley, a shot, scores! Morgan Riley snaps it home. And the Leafs have grabbed a 1-0 lead. Matthew Knies back to Matthews. Shoots. The stop is made point blank by Thompson. Matthews back with it. Sidesteps that check from Ovechkin. Feeds Knies. Shoots. Scores!
It stays a 1-goal lead for Tampa Bay. Back to the point for Destu into the corner. Kucherov in front, scores! Nick Paul off another.
Works the board, sends it across. Here's Ekman Larsson. Trying to put it in front. Loose puck. Ekman Larsson scores! 1985. Tavares with a backhand stop by Chilov. In for Easton Cowan. Centering it. Back to Cowan. Scores! What a pass from Nylander. Trying to swivel his way in front. Gets it now to McMahon. Here's Stetcher trying to get it through. Knocked down. Joshua scores! Dakota Joshua! Ahead it goes on the tape to Domi. With Matthews over the line. Drops it off. Matthews scores! Austin Matthews beats Tristan Jarry.
The boards to Klingberg, went by his stick to Reinhart. Golden Knights have numbers if they can hurry. Kolasar, Sissons, Reinhart, Kolasar, chance, save Nedeljkovic. Rebound loose and Nedeljkovic, score! Looked like Sissons may have put that in.
And a pick back out by McMahon. McMahon. Back for Troy Stitcher, long shot, scores! And Troy Stitcher sneaks it through. 6-2, the shots on goal in favor of Florida. After Carolina leaves to go home for 5 straight. On the road, there's a rebound in front. And Wool leaves it there for Stetcher. Shot back up by Matthews. He finds Tavares with the empty net. John Tavares in, scores!
Cross ice. Duhaime, who already has a couple of assists, forcing Klingberg away. Now Protas is in. Protas, curl, Duhaime, score!
Back to to Gostisbehere. Another long wrist shot. Hit the skate of Riley. And Nyes pokes it free. In behind Gostisbehere. Nyes works in. Backhand shot. Scores! Going to spin it back in front. Nyes took that away. Up ahead to Matthews. To Domi. 3-on-1 Toronto. Domi works it back across. Matthews scores! Tampa Bay. Jake Gensel. Defended with gap control by Benoit. A jailbreak. Tavares. Drop pass. Allen. Out in front. It ricochets to Riley. He's in. And he scores! 6 seconds left. They grind for it. Kucherov and pinballs free. Goes all the way down. It hits the bullseye.
This one dug out by Cirelli. Up ahead to Radish. Radish has made several key plays again. Defensively carries it in. Takes the shot. Hits the crossbar. Reba. No, I think it's in.
It's in.
Wow. Evans pulls it back with a lighting gain control as Radish scores! Darren Radish buries another one from distance.
Nylander pivots back in the corner on Dickinson. Loose behind the goal. Nylander feeds it back from McCabe with a hard shot. Score! Nylander back to Riley. In for Nylander. Nylander holds. Centers it, Matthews shoots, scores!
Puts it up ahead to Angus Crookshank. He's given a bump at the line. Hamilton turns this one over inside the line. Paul scores! Nick Paul! Such a core member of this group. All the way around, Kucherov back to the line. Radish scores! Darren Radish answers with another one. Here's Radish to Kucherov. 8 seconds to go in the 5-on-3. Kucherov, Radish scores! Darren Radish pumps one home.
Bouncing puck and it's knocked away. Here's Cowan. He's got Lott loose. Lott on the backhand rolling through. Scores! Easton Cowan looking for Domi in the slot. Hooks it back into the corner. Loose puck. Matthews on it in front. And a stop there. Another chance. Scores! Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
Now you got to forge a new one with your new partner.
McCabe across and a nice set play goal for Steven Lorentz.
Off the draw, Matthews. Back for Ekman-Larsson with a shot. Scores! Kaiser tied up by Nylander. Now it's picked free by Matthews. A quick chance. Scores! Austin Matthews! Power play goal! The game is tied at 2. He had one until he scored against San Jose last week. Now a bouncing puck for Joshua. Scores! Dakota Joshua and the Leafs lead 3-2.
Maccelli let off a stick high. Comes down for Stetcher. Up top, Maccelli to the net. Scores! Change direction in front. And the Leafs have regained the lead.
The middle point and can't get a clean shot away against Tucker. Kucherov, Radish shoots, scores! Power play goal!
Wayne Gretzky's goal record would go, and the Mario would be the all-time leading Pittsburgh scorer. Here's Nylander. He's got a break. Looking to book the slip. And score! Carlson with a stutter step at the line. Tracked there all the way. Taken away. Home free. Steven Lorentz. And Lorentz in, and Skinner scores! 15 seconds left in the Maccelli penalty, and then just about a dozen seconds of power play time for the Leafs again. Domi, what a goal! Dead empty again. Matthew Nyes, the center. Nyes ahead, Tavares, and Nylander's going to put it in.
Eichel goal from center ice, and then the turnover by Nedeljkovic to set up the Smith overtime winner. Kolasar has Sissons. They're looking for more. Kolasar centered it, and Sissons scores!
Matthias Maccelli's on the top unit. Gets to the line, but not over. Puck popped in the air. Zub unable to find it. Centering play in front. Scores! Let's see if Max Domi can take advantage. Domi sizes things up. Nice! Scores! Power play goal! Number 2. Now it's McMahon. Back to Tanev across. Jake McCabe. He'll leave it for Domi. His shot up high. Rebound. Scores! Austin Matthews. And Riley steps up. Here's Morgan Riley working his way in. Riley centers. Nice. In. Scores! Now Tanev with an unplay. Matthews couldn't handle it. And that shot goes wide. It's John Tavares for the empty net. Scores!
Flushed out by Landeskog, able to move it up ahead for Kolasar. Now Sisson charging in. Sisson to the net. A backhand and he scores!
Lightning kill off another Montreal power play. Back inside the line is Bjork trying to drive. Rebound! Scores! Nick Paul!
In the bumper is Knies. Here's Matias Maccelli dropping it off, and that just went wide as Tavares missed, and another one in!
Probably going to look for it again.
At Savoy, the second unit gets out there for Edmonton. Savoy off the pad of Hellebuck, and a goal! Jack Roslovic!
Work to McCabe, who's up to 8 block shots. Tavares to Knies. Jack Hughes, the only guy back. And Knies is going to stick that puck. It's 4-0 Toronto.
Hagel now to the net. He goes, scores! Tapped in by Darren Radish. It's a lightning strike in overtime.
And the Bruins have just made 5 for 5 on the kill tonight, and now it becomes a really tall order.
Give him a lot of credit.
Roslovic, a shot. Score!
Clutch defensive play there. Velarde in a good spot. Matthews to the attack. Domi on the left side. Back in front. Scores! Past him and out to center ice. Picked off by Lawton. 3 Leafs are in. Lawton to the 4th Leaf. Heck, but Larson scores! They've got 10 seconds to reset. Back in comes Maccelli. Morgan Riley. Time running out the period. One more chance. Matthews scores! 2 seconds left. Sandberg stealing it from Matthews, who gets it back to McMahon. It's Stetcher scores! McCabe up ahead for McMahon. That goes off a jet and slides down to the side of the Winnipeg gate. In front, scores!
Point the goal scorer, the Tampa Bay Lightning with their 48th first period goal this season. Here's a shot from Radish, scores! San Jose defender centered back out, and Radish reaches to hold that puck in. Half a minute to go on the power play. Radish shoots, scores! Kucherov again. He'll get it back up top to Radish with a blast, scores! And it's a hat trick for Darren Radish.
That one claimed for the next, maybe 20 years. Here comes Matthews, working in. Matthews scores! And Matt Sundin has company. Puck at the line. It does stay in. Some good work by Domi. Now a chance. McMahon, Matthews, and there is 4:21. And the Maple Leaf. Here goes Nick Waugh, who set the physical tone here a few minutes ago. Over the line, back across, Robertson in front, scores! Easton Cowan! Maccelli will fire it in, looking for that bank in front, and loose there, and Ekblad couldn't find it. It'll be played to Stetcher, scores! Tipped in front!
Oh boy, took a hard hit there in the corner too.
Did from Mikkola, coming out in front, Knies, powers his way, back in front, what a goal! Austin Matthews!
Back the other way. Off the line, the lone man back. Tavares has it with Cowan. John Tavares works in, feeds it back. Cowan shoots, scores!
Starting a 4-game road trip. This is the 3rd of 6 games for Vancouver. Here's a break. Domi in, scores! He was Bobby Orr that night. Here's a turnover, and Lorentz going the other way with Nylander. He hit him. Nylander in and scores! Only Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, and Macklin celebrating with more. John Tavares scores!
After center, Cirelli. Following up is Gensel. Gensel for Cirelli, and that shot is blocked by Sealer. Following it, that's Stu. Rebound, scores! The Lightning came in waves, and Nick Paul back.
Huge save for Joseph Wall.
Chalk another up for Wall. Been outstanding in his first period. Easton Cowan in front, scores! For the Avalanche, who have outscored their opponents 3-1, 4-on-4. The Leafs 2-1. Here comes Matthews, scores! Austin Matthews! And now Matthews ahead. Ekman Larson, Nylander with him. William Nylander scores! William Nylander!
Here's Nylander. He watched there by Keegan Kolazar. Nylander drops it back. Great pass. Riley scores! Morgan Riley snaps it home on a great feed. Korzak up to center ice. That's picked up by Nylander. Threads it ahead for Maccelli. And Michelli winds in, centers it, Nylander, backhand shot, scores! And again, Domi holds the puck, lines it back to Stetcher with a long shot, that is Theodore in front. Now McCabe centers it, scored! Works that back for Riley. Matthews from a sharp angle, centers for Knies, back across, Michelli scores!
Did Tavares tip that by accident? I think he might have.
Velarde draws the assist on the second-gen goal. Leafs trying to answer back. Chance, Matthews scores! And they do! Now the Leafs are out. Nice feed here to Robertson. Stanley tracking him. Robertson back across. Scores! Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Back to Scheifele. Turned over. And it's a break. Matthews with room. And Domi. Across. Domi scores! Game winner!
Chips it out to center ice. Puck sent ahead. Lazarian drops to Roslovic. Makes a move, tries a backhander and scores! David Camp going to the net, but Jari held it out. Oilers the other way. Howard on the left wing. Puts one in front, they score! Roslovic with his second of the game.
Nice. Goes there again, that time sent across by Nick Robertson. Austin Matthews. Goal line, Matthew Knies to the slot. Tavares, he scores! Indirects it back. Sturm's pass deflects. Domi, a lead pass. Matthews, he's in! He scores!
I'd suggest they got rougher treatment than Mitch Marner got in the first period. Here's Knies, off the post, lift up, scores!
O'Connor breaks things up. Here he comes. 3-on-1 Canucks shorthanded. Drew O'Connor in. Blueger scores!
Out of the corner, Gensel to Kucherov. Kucherov to Radish with a shot, scores! Darren Radish!
You don't have to, don't go. Chance in front, Cowan turned away by Blackwood, looks back, another chance for Mead, rebound, score! Hronek, a blast, tipped in! Might be Liam Ogren. Might be Teddy Blueger. There were bodies.
Lots of pressure here for the Lightning. Kucherov again. To Radish with a shot. Scores!
In comes Matias Michelli. Drops it back to McCabe walking in. McCabe shoots off the skate. Michelli sends it back in front. Score! Matthew Knies flips home the puck on the roster at the same time. It started last Friday. Back at the point, McCabe. Now center, Domi shoots. Looking at save, and score! Matthews again! Carlo finds McMahon for Domi. Up ahead comes Matthews on the pass from McMahon. Matthews centers it, Domi and scores!
To Gord. Gord banks it. Radish gathers low, shoots, scores! Darren Radish with another!
Send it up the boards to Granlund. Here's Goetsching, 30 seconds left. Throws one in front, intercepted, empty net shot, he scored! Teddy Blueger.
Left away, but Riley up with it. Morgan Riley at the line. Scores!
Mix there in that game.
And against Vancouver, he was 20-43 in that game. Here's Domi, and scores!
Ceci and Simmer. We'll have the call with our colleague Gene Principe in front. Nurse sets up Roslovic, and the Oilers cut it to 6-3.
Tampa Bay's had the last 10 shot attempts. Swayman stopping everything. But sooner or later it's bound to happen, and it does. Radish rips and continues. Kucherov again. This bunch has been out there the entire time. They score again. Gensel put it out in front. It got tipped in. Nick Paul.
Blueger back to Marcus Pettersson. Feeds one to the side of the goal. Glove down by Garland. Centers. Blueger scores. Teddy Blueger took that beautiful pass from Garland. Huberdeau plays it back across. Picked up by Tavares. He's playing Nylander. In comes William Nylander with a break. Shoot. Scores! Winds for the offensive zone. Finds Matthews. Ekman-Larsson. Nylander. Matthews. Wires and shoots. Rebound loose in front. Picked up by Nylander. Spins it back in front. Rebound. Score! Troy Stecher. Seam pass didn't find its way through Radish. A floater that goes just wide. Hagel sweeps it to Kucherov. Here's Radish and drive.
Of the season for an Oiler blue liner. The 11-11 time of the goal. The break kick. Matthew Knies. Outside of the goal post. Matthews up with it. Here's Matthews in front. Knies can't get a stick on it. Back to Nylander. And across, scores! Open net, and the Leafs get a reprieve. Back in comes Knies. Over it goes Nylander. And Tavares shooting, scores! But in the end, it's a Tavares goal answered very quickly by 0.2 of the game. Knies in. Scores! Caught Vasilevsky.
Now Bowman finds Sissons. Back to Bowman, couldn't get it through. Sissons scores!
Anaheim far more at full strength than they were last month. And breaking in, Roslovic shoots and scores. And what a start for Edmonton.
Ekman-Larsson. Back across to Nylander to Ekman-Larsson. Down to Matthews, chips it back in front. Tavares again scores!
Back to Morgan Riley. Towards Matthews, off his stick to McCabe moving in. Tied up there by Lars Eller. Matthews on it. Here's Riley. Scores! Leafs are changing here in the second period as Lawton fires it on. Here's a rebound chance and scores!
And understanding what's happening around the league all the time.
And when you have a team identity, as that shot is scored by Dakota Joshua. Handle for Matthews. Shot taken. Vladar said no, it pops out. Nice again. Tavares. Nylander. He scores!
Dial in your instincts as a great junior player to try to create that here in the NHL.
He takes that shot, scores! Sends it across, just out of the reach of Connor Brown. Got Tavares away. Got Knies on the right side. Hits a 2-on-1. Tavares off the block, scores! Matthew Knies.
Giving up lots of shots and lots of grade A chances. It's just not a recipe.
Last year, Leafs goaltending papered over a lot of those cracks. Just Cowan shoots and scores! Pretty prominent start to this game. Here he comes again. Max Sasson throws on the brakes, feeds one back. Marcus Pettersson on the backhand, puts one to the crease, and it's put into the goal by Teddy Bluger.
You always listen to your parents, didn't you, Sean? Here's Nylander in front, back, Nylander scores! And the Leafs do break through.
Little did we know what Macklin Celebrini had in store for us. Here's Draisaitl, a beautiful pass. Scoring is Roslovic, and this game is tied at 2.
Back down to Matthews. Snaps that pass across to Nylander. Nice. Works it back for Matthews. Scores! Ekman-Larsson to Nylander. Now, Nice back across for Maccelli. Loose puck, but they score! Brought back in by Nylander. Maccelli. Rink wide for Nice. Looks back at front. Nylander scores!
The Leafs are making it a not very nice homecoming. What a pass!
Crew takes that pass, walks in and shoots, scores! Oh, Crew, short-handed goal!
To the coaching staff, the players, and the 2 points.
Carrying attempt from Carlo was knocked down. Here's Nice with it. Has a look and shoots, scores!
Checked by Zegras, who steals the puck. Zegras holding on. Waits. Hits a man coming late. It's Andre for the shot. Score! Emil Andre back in the lineup. And up.
Golden Knights control this draw. Anderson with a high flip. Howden bearing down on Wotherspoon. Puck loose. Jumping on it. Bowman trying to cut in. Backhand. Top score! Colton Sissons on.
He has goals in each of the 2 games he has played against Buffalo this year. Loose puck in front of the net. Shin can't clear. Joshua scores! Looks ring wide. Nylander loose again. Working in. Scores! Tap in for Max Domi in game 800. Under 15 minutes on the year, but that's on the uptick of late. With 7 goals in his last 12. Tavares gets it to Maccelli. Across Morgan Riley. Scores! There's Jeff Petrie back in his own zone. Robertson up with the puck. Back to the line it goes, Stecher. He shot. Troy Stecher He got in too deep. That would have been spectacular. Kept in at the line. Here is Groove. Scores! It'll come loose for X&X. Back to the line for Hughes shooting. Blocked by Nyes. Plays it out. Nyes after it. Open net. Scores!
Aja has that knocked out. Lorenz spins and shoots, scores!
Knocked it out of his hand, and he can't take his eye off the puck. He's trying to fish for his stick at the same time.
Kucherov on it to Radish. Score! Radish!
Leafs come away with the puck. Now Maccelli through center. Drew on his left. Gets the pass to Drew. Sliding it through. Rebound. Scores! Dakota Joshua. Jake McCabe. Here's Tavares. Was off for the 4 minutes. Sweeps it in and scores! Here's a shot by Domi. And Bussey stops that. Maccelli recovers. Nylander off the boards to the net. Scores! 47 with the Kings, but 4-8 now with back-to-back games. Nyes got stuck for 2 minutes and 16 seconds. Here's Tavares in. Scores! Pocket pick there by Nylander. Took it away from Cousins. John Tavares going to walk in. Sends it back across. Nylander. Benoit. Glove down. Rebound. Scores. Easton Cowan.
Works it free. Kucherov. Now Radish. Shoots. Save made. Rebound is loose. It nudges free. Here's Moser to Kucherov. Radish fires. Score!
That pass was blocked by Riley. Reichel trying to flip that back. Nyes got a stick on it.
Got him.
Lowride's got a hurry back. Nyes kicks it free. In comes Nyes. Short-handed scores.
Also penalty to number 91, Nikita Zatorov.
All right, so Ekman Larson. And the Bruins have 2 defensemen in the penalty box. Here's Domi with it. Walks right in. Backhand shot, scores. Finds Tavares in the final seconds of the power play. McAvoy's lost his stick. The puck goes back to McCabe for Nylander. Nylander spreads that back in front. The pass misfired. Rebound, score. Fraser Minton back for Sakic. Misses. And now a race for it. Tavares gets back. Has a look back. He's got company. Tavares looks back, centers, and Nylander hit the goal.
Third power play for Tampa Bay. With Bush getting comfortable. Here's Radish.
Score! Golden Knights looking to make a pay. Barbashev's backhand pass blocked. He'll feed it to Anderson in tight centering pass. Score! Colton Sissons at the top of the crease.
I did give him my camera. I felt like I should be beside him just in case there was kind of any issue.
Yeah, the only photo with my eyes closed, and Roslovic ties it. Off the rush, beating Vejmelka. Lead pass, a strike, curves to Hyman. Button hooks, wide open now. Backhander off the crossbar. Rebound, Roslovic scores.
Dumps it inside the line. Knocked loose there by Grew. Drew after it, comes loose, Maccelli in front, and he can't tuck it in. Loose puck, McCabe. Spun there, and he has 12 points in his last 12 games. Out come the Leafs, it's Maccelli over the line. Joshua scores!
That's a fantastic time in sports.
Here's Tavares taking a puck away. He's got Cowan with him. John Tavares, Nylander trailing. Tavares scores!
At the other end, a bit of a change-up and an easy save made on Connor Ingram.
That had a little spin on it.
Here's Hyman. Roslovic, a shot, scores! 5-hole!
It's a good motivator. Tim McCabe on the board with the pair today. And
there's the shot, scores!
There you go.
Nyes on the move. Nylander in the slot. Tavares kicks it back. Nylander one time. Right on rebound. Scores! Nylander. Cowan trying to establish position in front. Nyes will fire, scores! Matthew Nyes! Picked up by Seneca, couldn't get it through, and hits a break! It's William Nylander to tie it, he does! In behind the net, Ekman Larson. Here's Cowan out of the box, and it's a 3-on-2. Tavares, Nylander, and Riley the trailer, scores! One last attack. 10 seconds remaining. It's Easton Cowan. Across, Riley in front, scores!
Natchez in with a pass to Nazem Kadri, had a couple power play goals in the 9-2 winning against his former team. Here's Ogren short-handed now, cutting with Bluger. Ogren, Bluger shoots, he scores! Third short-handed goal of the year for Teddy. And Max Sassone to open the scoring. This one brings the puck in. Two teammates with him. Sassone, Blueger to the net, and he scores. Teddy Blueger with his second of the game. Another great shot there by Goodrow, turned away by Stolars. Cowan back across. Tavares, a chance, scores.
The only team that has more is Montreal. They've won 8 of their last 10 games coming into tonight's action.
Here's Radish. Radish to the net, scores!
Byfield on the ice. Over Leaf, Joel Edmondson. Checked at center by Domi. Nyes is with him. Takes the drop. Here's Matthew Nyes. Scores!
One of the top ones in the West.
Here's a steal. Steven Lorentz is in. Scores! Short-handed goal. And the Leafs have a 2-0 lead. Wire to wire this season. Nyes in low. Nylander with a look. And Gepper. Loose puck put away. And John Tavares got a little time. Nylander has lots of time. Back to Nyes. In low in front, scores. It's Easton Cowan. And the Leafs sneaking back into the conversation. Leafs will have the Capitals on Wednesday. Here's Nyes, scores.
Pressure coming from Frederick, able to skate it. Up ahead to Marner. Into the Oilers zone. Marner with Sissons. Second pass. Score! Colton Sissons on the deflection.
Now Kucherov flips it into the middle for Paul. Paul drops this one off. Across, calling for Kucherov. Ends up with the backhand. Scores! And it's Nick Paul.
Conservatively just dumps it into the corner. McDavid, the quick up, wide open Roslovic. Another breakaway. Backhander score.
Then played back in the corner by Mayfield. Here's Lorentz, shoots, and Sorokin can't stop that as Lorentz fires it home. And the Leafs, 45 seconds to go in the Leafs power play. Tavares walks out, leaves that back for Cowan. Shoots, scores! Easton Cowan, power play goal! And the game is tied at 2.
But there's reason why people get fired beyond just
there was the stuff with Jake Ottinger. There was, yeah. Riley sends that, and Sorokin reaching back, it's in.
Matt Barzal tapped it in his own net.
And stepping in was Destu. There was Anderson. Destu in a puck battle. They find Kucherov. Here's Radish. Scores!
Downhill, fires right on. A rebound, Tarasov. Knocked that away. Nylander picks it up and scores. Another power play goal. And the Leafs are on the board. Nylander back to Benoit. Not much on that. And Nylander steals, scores! He has a double take.
Down to 5 seconds remaining in the penalty to Vincent Desharnais. Puck comes free to Carlson in front. Poke check, rebound, they score! Teddy Blueger wristed it in.
Moves it deeper in the zone off the stick of Nylander, supported by Matthew Nyes. Stars get after it. Myers, little handoff, look out. And Tavares! That's a tough one for Myers. Quillen's out. Jacob Quillen. Steve Lorentz, right in. He'll circle the track. DeSmith can't get it. Quillen does. Jacob Quillen with his first goal. Nylander, Easton Cowan to the slot. Went off the skate of Capobianco. DeSmith got a hold of that. On the rebound. Checked by Nyes. Nyes will pick it up. Lay it along a jailbreak. Nylander, right in. A pass of beauty. Domi scores!
And up ahead, maybe a 2-on-1. Here's Quillen with Nylander. Quillen's in. Loose in front. Scores! William Nylander's got his 30th.
Here's Hagel. Slides it across. Advantage, Lightning, big time. Evans with no stick. Here's Radish. Scores!
Theodore straight away around the horn for McNabb. He'll throw it towards the net. Cole Smith centered it. Down low. Score! Colton Sissons was... Puck trickles out top. Korzak. McNabb, little space. Wrist shot saved. Made. Rebound. Score! Colton Sissons on the rebound. And the Golden Knights are back.